My dance floor of emotions. Energy stagnated, shake myself free, standing on my dance floor of potential destiny. I cleared a space in my house, for kinships aligned, then waltzed on in fear, masking deception and lies. I adjusted the music to suit the new unexpected vibe, then I stopped dancing and the music died. A song cut dead where there could have been a melody or a bridge to a chorus, but instead a fading memory. Next swayed in charm, mooch on in, create safe space, creating trust, mutual respect, now I'm swaying out of pace. In walks in pride, who doesn't want to dance, stares from a distance, blasé, dressed up like accidental glance. Next on the dance floor struts malicious intent, along with flirtatious lady in red. Then boom arrives ego, who signals to the DJ, giving fear a nudge, interrupting my sway. Envy cuts in, leaving me swirling, kindness went home while broken records kept turning. I'm so dizzy, my head is spinning, I wish trust had not left the building when my favourite song was playing. At least hope stayed afterwards to help clean up the mess. Faith sneaked out the back door when faithless got on the decks. Joy stuck around 'cause she's made out of glue. Happiness and joy were already planning party number 2. Excitement was in the toilet, too nervous to be seen. Nervousness was knocking while fear danced to lean on me. Next I hear a ballad. Tiredness wonders where I am. I get myself together, take tiredness by the hand. Guess who's in the hallway? It's spontaneity. Then comes back my spirit and we all go crazy. Lust shows up with a random Tinder date. Romance sat in the garden with hope that true love would enter through the gate. Greed cleared the buffet in kitchen and drank all the free beer. Wherever greed went, addiction stayed near. Worthlessness stayed at home along with RSD. FOMO scrolled on Facebook to monitor the party scene. Righteousness came uninvited, accompanied by audacity. Scooped up confidence along the way, along with invincibility. Confusion arrived a week early, then turned away. He thought the party was on a different day. Innocence arrived with purity, bringing 3-spirit elixir. Perfectionism didn't make it because he couldn't find the perfect mixer. Boredom gave loneliness a call and decided to attend. Shyness went reluctantly, she is the latter's best friend. They called their Dutch friend courage. Courage picked up strength. Strength invited weakness to a party for the weekend. Persuasion and naivety both arrived together. Suspicion and empathy danced to Who Wants to Live Forever. Dubious and sceptical sensed trouble might come knocking. Worry and concern sensed the door might need a lock-in. Paranoid went frantic, tried to find the key. Optimism didn't care because he was already free. Interest was scanning the room, making mental notes. Lust's Tinder date went home in a huff as she watched Lust sow her wild oats. Concern and worry left pretty swift to ensure Lust's date had a taxi or a lift. Despair started pacing, looking for his shoes. Compassion changed the music. Curiosity searched for clues. Calmness made a herbal tea. Acceptance meditated. Concern and worry had left despair, not knowing the drama created. Lo and behold, in bursts joy through the curtains on the stage. Delight starts playing, groove is in the heart, when magically oppression bursts out of her cage. Inspiration spins the wheel, made her own playlist, living the dream. Kindness heard the music, changed its frequency, so came back to the party, watched despair drop to his knees. But on the way kindness met vulnerability, while passion zoomed past running late with autism and ADHD. Autism spotted shenanigans on the corner of the road. ADHD yelled, "Stop the car," because she just lost the joint she rolled. Passion missed her cue. Autism starts to panic. ADHD got out the car and tried to stop the traffic. Passion turned up the volume on the radio in her car, singing "Queen, Don't Stop Me Now," while ADHD is giving directions to somebody outside the spa. Autism's already bolted, with hands over head and ears, power walking into the darkness in case something bad occurs. Seeking solitude and silence for nervous regulation, getting lost counting paving slabs, self-medication. Lured by the quietness away from all the chaos, passion's now full throttle, singing Tori Amos. ADHD gets back in the car, goes to find autism who can't be very far, she says, as she's constantly ringing autism's phone but silence mode is winning. ADHD says, I have an idea. Autism might have walked to the party, let's go there, have a beer. Passion agreed, so they proceeded to follow that convoy of emotions excluding sorrow. Then ADHD changed her mind suddenly, realised autism was probably somewhere quiet like by the sea. ADHD had rung all autism's friends, put a missing persons post on Facebook and starts blaming herself again. In the meantime, autism's calmed herself down. She met rationality who was homeward bound. They sat on the bench gazing out to sea with awe when logic arrived with peace who had just escaped a war. Sensibility wasn't far away, with trust they'll find a solution, so logic rang the party host with hope there'd be a resolution. Autism sent a voice note to ADHD to say she's off to bed, then put her phone on flight mode, WhatsApp settings on unread. Earbuds set to silence, concentrate on breath, contemplate the stars, tap my head and chest. Solitude and silence became autism's best friend, so they walked her home because autism was overwhelmed. Sensibility and logic flagged the next bus down. Autism put her hood up and rode right out of town. Guess who was on the bus? Irritability, sitting next to frustration along with anxiety. Next up, look, it's shenanigans. They fill up the bus, autism starts panicking. Try to blend in, scroll on my phone, try not to implode before I go home. Autism got off the bus, 2 stops too soon, to walk in the silence under the light of the moon. Shenanigans blasted tunes on their mini rigs, all in party spirits dancing to whirligig. Anxiety always follows autism home, but contentment is around the corner. After a meltdown, she'll get stoned. Back to the party, what is occurring? In the house of emotions, addiction is slurring. ADHD and passion were on top form, while compassion is in the kitchen cooking up a storm. Food to soothe all kinds of emotions, brought to the party from love and devotion. Next through the door, in came shenanigans. With some randoms from the bus, autism's upstairs panicking. Pacing the floorboards, bracing myself for potential chaos is the feeling I sense. Intuition tapped gently on my bedroom door. Trust was calling, faith replied, so we all sat on the floor. Intuition sensed sensibility waiting in the hall for peace to arrive with serenity, 'cause it's crazy on that dance floor. Energy has taken a turn as ego takes over the decks. Shenanigans are now centre stage, while humour laughed and nudged regret. Regret always knows when to show up. Few steps ahead, intuition give her a heads up. Joy danced with brave, who turned up late with shy. Addictions on the floor, while happy's getting high. Clarity's in the garden with awe and gratitude. Then envy arrives with malicious intent, charm and attitude. To be continued. A masked parade all lingered at the gate. Secrecy, delusion, mistrust, ill fate. Insecurity, denial, anger, shame. Contentment, desire, resentment and blame. They jumped the queue, pushed their way inside. Hateful and spite found envy and pride. Dancing together while sadness cried. Malicious intent searched for triangulation, who was sat next to fear and humiliation. When she found them, she summoned ill fate, who was playing chess with destiny, but they were at a stalemate. Boredom sat down with contemplation, vindictiveness and jealousy corrupted hesitation. Naivety and neediness fell for the facade, innocence and purity left for a massage. Indecisiveness felt torn, should I stay or should I go? Assertiveness told persuasion to take confusion home. Impatience and frustration triggered impulsivity, who screamed, make up your mind, indecisiveness, it's time for you to leave. Rage against the machine starts blasting, ADHD and passion still dancing. Flight and fright left freeze on her own. Loyalty still singing, you'll never stand alone. Pessimistic requested the music be changed, so sarcasm starts spinning, people are strange. Humour winked at DJ sarcasm, while nervous dysregulation starts having a spasm. Insanity connected with escapism. Isolation helped autism build her own prison. Mindful was on a yoga retreat with self-care and enlightenment. Groundedness stood bare feet, saw passion sneak out with excitement. Silence glanced at groundedness. Shyness spied romance, but she stayed safe in the shadows, never once asked her to dance. Opportunist hooked up with shyness after abandoning vulnerability, mysterious lurked in the woodland with discretion and secrecy, romance remained with hopeful whilst gazing at the night sky, hesitance wondered if she should stay sober or get high. With that, persuasion arrives back, no longer any more confusion. Indecisiveness walks halfway home and bumped into apprehension. Who'd lost hesitation at the start of the night, because jealousy kicked off and started a fight. As all this is going on, autism's replaying the same song, Linger by the Cranberries, which is also her ringtone for her phone, because when it rings she listens to the whole song all the way through, because she knows deep down it's ADHD ringing with concern and worry over dramatising the situation. Autism's got 3 phone settings, linger, off and silent, and when she's with overwhelm, she'll only answer the phone to kindness, but intuition normally shows up with distance who ran away from regret. Destiny shook herself free, ill-fate found mistrust whispering in the ear of naivety. Neediness stayed close, wondering why stupidity chose to be at home because that's not how it used to be. Stupidity used to be the life of the party scene. She'd help set up, she'd stay to clean, she'd treat you like her queen. She'd carry the bags, drive you home safe, hand you some water when you fucked at a rave. Look after your pets, refuse to be paid, because they all know she'd offer mate rates. She was invited to parties who had an agenda, but she jumped up with joy instead of pressing return to sender. So if stupidity stayed at home, is she so stupid after all? Because last time she partied, she was in trouble with the law. Manipulation, desire and ill intent seeked out stupidity and ditched regret. They tell her to do things because stupidity did as she was told, because she used to people please. A copied behaviour taught by unworthiness, a trauma response to prove her own worthiness. A conditioned way of life. Stupidity was a lighthouse for all kinds of insecurities, who all approached her in disguise seeking selfish opportunities. Retrospect knew that soon she would have a call, but there was no point stressing because it was nothing new. Stupidity would eventually fall. She'd fall out with energy, stand in the face of adversity, risk her life for ADHD and vulnerability, always wore her heart on her sleeve, listened to everyone attentively, made a fool of herself to save pride and envy, took blame when concern and worry brought shame back to keep her company. Nobody saw stupidity's true intentions because they were all too busy judging their own projections. Reflections of themselves in a mirror. To be continued.